Hello and welcome to Friday Art with me, Cate Field. Now, in today's tutorial, I'm going to be talking about how we can develop an idea. I have had a few people contact me about my previous tutorial where I put down lots and lots of ideas and I said I'm going to be developing these further. And they were asking an absolutely brilliant question on what do I mean when I say I'm going to develop an idea. And so that's what I'm going to do in this tutorial. I'm going to look through my sketchbook, the things that I've been doing over the last few days, about a week. And I'm going to take 4 of those ideas and I'm going to show you how I take them to the next step of development. And this is all part of the Heartscapes project that I'm doing for February. So this is February 2025. So whenever you are watching this, that's what it refers to. And there are lots of details in the notes if you want to join in, which would just be fabulous. So enough of that. I really hope you are well. Let's go. So why do we have to develop ideas at all? And I have this question a lot from my students. Well, your first idea is rarely the best or your most complete version. So developing an idea allows it to evolve into something deeper, something more refined, something more personal. And the process turns the scattered experiments from your sketchbook into a cohesive and thoughtful piece of work. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you 4 ways in which I will develop some of these ideas that I've been working on and playing around with over the last week or so. So these were from the first tutorial I did on the Heartscapes project, and there are some things that I really like. So what we want to do is to take the bits that we like, so that could be the process, it could be the design, it could be the colours we use, it could be the materials we use, and then take that and change it into something else or develop it into something else. And I'm going to show you how I do this. Now, in my book, there are some things that I really like. I really like the letters and the hearts here. And so I think I'm going to be developing something like that. But there's also some bits here that I really like, some aspects of it. And so I'm going to take a few of these and show you what I do. I'm going to be using all sorts of materials. Acrylic pens, I'm going to be using my watercolors, which is what I did with these ones. These were done with watercolors and acrylic. I've got my Faber-Castell colouring pencils. I'm going to do some with those, and I'm going to be using some acrylic paint as well. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to just take the first one, which is this one. I'm thinking about how the letters work with the shapes, and I'm going to take this idea, but I'm going to change the colours. Now, I do actually like these colours very much, but I just want to show you what you can do with the same idea and how it looks when you develop it. So I'm going to be working on a separate piece of paper because I'm going to be referencing my sketchbook. So I'm going to have that sort of there reminding me of what I'm doing. I'm going to be using acrylic paints. I'm still going to have that kind of turquoisey, the iridescent greeny blue, but I'm going to have some more green, and I'm going to have some navy blue and a little bit of white. I'm going to use the same sort of technique that I was using before. So I'm going to have the sponge. If you didn't see this tutorial, I will link it below. And you might want to have a look at that. So I'm going to start off with creating a bit of a background before I do any imagery at all. A little bit of paint on here. I'm just going to go right to the edges. A little bit of the navy blue. like this. It's just going to give a different sort of feel, but using the same technique. Like this. So this is all part of the Heartscapes project. So if you are new to my channel, if this is the first time you've watched me, I'm doing for the whole of February, this is February 2025, Heartscapes project. Everyone can join in if you want to, and you can participate. The details are all in the description and on the Facebook page. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group and that's something that you'd quite like to do, then please feel free to join in. Again, the details are in the description. And my idea is to create a show reel of everybody's work based on the heart and the love that we have for our friends and for our community and for our family. It's that kind of connection that I feel that is so important. And I'm going to be creating a book with everybody's work in it, which will be available to buy if you'd like to. And again, I'll tell you all about that later. But what I'm going to need is a front cover. So I'm going to be developing some of my ideas to create into the front cover. So, and this is the start of that. And I thought I will show you this because quite a few of you have asked, how do I develop my work? And what do I mean when I say you can develop these ideas? So thank you so much for that question, because it was a brilliant question. So I've done my background. It won't take long to dry, but it doesn't actually need to be completely dry for me to do the next bit. I've got dry brush. I'm just putting a little bit of white on here. And I liked the way that the heart went through the letter. I thought that was quite fun. And I did like the L as well. But I want to have all of the letters more closer together. So I'm going to start off by putting in my heart. Now you could do this with a stencil, with a template. I'm just putting it in the freehand because I've drawn hearts a lot. Now I'm just going to put in this navy blue. Putting it there as a Prussian blue. I'll put all the materials that I use in the description. But again, the idea is I really want you to do your own thing. I will give you lots and lots of ideas and then you do your own thing. And then it becomes yours. Sort of mixing that into there for the moment. Just, again, this is the same technique that I was using in the other one. Dry brush, and no water at all with this acrylic paint. And I'm just sort of building up this heart in the background. And with, you know, when you're developing an idea, it might be that you actually don't like it at all. You don't like your development, and that's the whole point really, is you're trying out what would happen if. So you might say, yeah, I really like that aspect, but what would happen if I did that? And it might be that what happens is complete mess and you don't like it, but that's you learning. You know, you have learnt something that's not working for you. And if you were one of my students in my classes, I would encourage you, actually I'd tell you to put your developments of your ideas into your sketchbook, whether you like them or not. Because as we build our own understanding of our own practice, we get a much better idea of the things that we like, things that we don't like. And we can be more concerning, really, and more professional. So I'm just sort of building this one. Again, these are not finished pieces. These are just ideas. This is my kind of next development of my idea. So just pop that in there. Still quite messy, it's fine. Now I am going to leave this to dry before I put the letters over the top, because otherwise things will get a little bit muddy. So I'm going to leave that to dry, and then I'm going to start my next idea that I'm going to develop, and then come back to this one. So getting back to why we need to develop ideas. So experimentation is great fun, but a commitment to developing an idea leads to a stronger sense of personal style. And when you refine and work through your ideas, it helps us to discover what really excites you, as I said earlier, and think about what you're naturally drawn to and how you can uniquely express yourself. So these ones are done with watercolour, and then once the paint was dry, I used acrylic pen. So I'm going to use the same technique, but this time I'm going to use different colours, and I'm going to do it in a slightly different way. So looking at the things that I really like, I'm going to focus on this one. I like the kind of the background. I like the kind of the depth of the background. I like the stripes, and then the 3 hearts. So I'm going to take this idea. So again, I'm going to just pop my book there. I'm going to work on a separate piece of paper. I'm going to do this quite small. I'm going to do 2. Actually, I'm going to do 2 ideas on this size, on this paper. Again, so that you can see what I mean about developing an idea. And if you are not used to doing this, if you are new to art, if you're new to kind of really taking this a little bit more seriously, this is going to be probably a new concept for you. I'm going to put in 2 squares. So one is going to be very bright and yellowy orange, and the other one is going to be purple. They're going to be my kind of two ideas there. Let's just move that up like that. So very wet. I'm using watercolour paper. This is 300 grams per square metre. You do need to use something that's substantial. Now, I had a really interesting question in the Facebook group over the weekend about using watercolour paper with quite a bit of texture in, and then the frustrations of then putting pen on the top because it can be a bit scratchy. What a brilliant question. So my kind of answer to that was, you have to do what feels good for you. Somebody else commented that you could use a fountain pen, which is absolutely true. Get some good ink in a fountain pen and do that. Or you could use hot or cold pressed paper. I'm just going to add a little bit on there, with a smoother texture. And in the UK we have cartridge paper. I can't remember what it's called in America. I will find out and just pop that on there. Which is very smooth, and it's used a lot in graphics. So I'm going to leave that like that. Let's go back to this sort of purpley one. Let's do that. This one's going to be purples and blue. Let's just get that there. I'm using my Acrylic Vibrant watercolour palette for this. Link is below. Very inexpensive. I'm not sure you can get it in America, but I have found an alternative, so I have linked that as well. I'm all for using the materials that you have and that work with your budget. And I have made quite a few videos where I have used student supplies, stuff that you can get in a children's toy shop, and looked at those. So put those there. I'm going to leave that to dry, and then I'm going to put in some patterns over the top. So my third one, I'm going to go back to this idea, but this time I'm going to work with colouring pencils. So the design is going to be similar, but the materials, the technique, the media that I'm going to use is going to be very different. But I am going to use a similar colour palette. And again, I'm just going to do a small design. I'm just going to play around with an idea. I'm going to take those like that. Where's my purple? Oh, that definitely needs a pencil sharpener. And what I'm going to do is going to take, again, the idea that I did in the sketchbook. So I'm going to put in some of my hearts. And again, you could use a stencil, you could use a template. Just popping these in here. You could use a graphite pencil to kind of start you off. But I wanted the idea of putting these letters in together and seeing if I could fit them more closely together and see what that might look like. So let's just put in this, my first letter, L. Might kind of do them in a slightly different way. Quite liked this sort of ideas of circles and bringing those in together. So I've got the L, the O, I'm going to pop on over the top. And again, this might not work. It might kind of end up looking bit silly. But I quite liked the idea of taking this bit of the heart and making it into the V. So that's what I'm going to play with here. Let's take that there, bring that round. Now, I love using typography in my work. I love working with letters. I used to teach graphic design a long time ago, long before computers. Goodness me, that does age me. Let's just put a little flourish there, because I did quite like that bit. Bring him round. Again, just sort of putting in that design, and then put the E. Think about how I'm going to do that. I like the idea of sort of letters overlapping, sort of drafting this, again putting in a little circle like that. And now I'm going to use my pencils to do a bit of shading. I'm not going to do the whole thing, because this is just a development of an idea. And if I feel that I really do like it, then yes, I can then take this idea forward to the final piece. One of the things that a lot of my students really struggle with is how long it takes to get to your final idea. And if you were taking a qualification, if you're doing like A-level, for example, or a diploma, your examiners will want to see how you develop an idea. They want to see this. The process is really important. And yeah, it's quite a tricky concept. And in the A-level qualification, the development of an idea is 25% of the mark. So yeah, it's very important. I'm just popping in that, just going to see what happens. Let's just sort of put this purple bit in. I do like working with colouring pencils, especially when I'm playing around with an idea, because you can put stuff down really quickly. But you can get some very nice effects as well. Just sort of doing this. And when I'm thinking about the cover of the book, I do want to have the word love somewhere on the cover, and it's just sort of thinking about how I'm going to use the letters and how I'm going to place them on the page is going to need a little bit of experimentation and a bit of playing until I get it right. And this is just like the second stage. I'm just going to put in the blues in here. Yeah, sort of build that up. Thinking about the other letters in the background, I sort of shade this in very, very scribbly for the minute. Just want to see what that looks like. And again, I encourage you to step back from your work, put it away for a while, come back and look at it later. Those sorts of things can really help in your kind of design process as well, because we do often need to have a bit of a break. Oh, I forgot to do that bit at the top there. Let's take that round and do another little circle up there. So I'm pulling this together. I'm actually quite tempted to bring in another colour. So whenever I'm thinking, oh, I wonder if it needs to go darker or wonder if it needs to go lighter, I'll do one on one side and one on the other. So I think that's what I'm going to do here, and to see what I think works better. Because I did have an idea, and this is what's going to happen when you start to develop an idea. You get more ideas. And then the most difficult thing is to choose which one you're going to go with. But of course, if you keep all your stuff in a sketchbook, you refer back to it, and so you never run out of ideas. I have had, lots of people ask me, what, you've been an artist for a long time, do you ever run out of ideas? I can honestly say I have never run out of ideas. There's always lots and lots of ideas. The tricky bit is deciding which one to go with. So yeah, I'm just sort of building that up. So what I'm going to do now, on one side, I'm going to do a different colour in the background from the other side. And I'm going to use a little bit more black or darker colours on this side and lighter colours on this side. And I'm going to see what that looks like. So on this side, I'm going to do some yellows and orange in the hearts. Again, I'm just going to do this quite roughly to begin with. I will work on it a little bit to get a nice finish. Let's just put that yellow in there first. Going in now with the orange. I do like the combination of purple and orange. I think it's quite interesting combination. Slightly more unusual, I think. So I'm using a technique of sort of going round in a bit of a circle. Just going to put that there, a little bit more here, like that. And now I've got a slightly darker colour. Obviously the outside is still the blue, but that's okay for the minute. That's still going to get a good idea. Like that. So just sort of building that up around that edge there. Just do a little bit of the top here. I do like when I'm doing colouring pencils to do colours on top of each other. You get some really good textures and kind of a bit more depth. It becomes a little bit more interesting. I'm going to take that. Then I'm going to go back to the L here and go over with the lighter blue. Sort of see what that effect is going to have. Like that, and then in with the purple. Oh, needs sharpening. That's better. very important to keep your pencils sharp. There we go. Just popping in a little bit of detail. Or definition really of this letter, because this is the bit that's going to be important when I'm working out the design. There we go. There we are. They say I do like that. I'm just going to turn that way. The orange and the purple coming into that space there. Like that. I'll do a little bit more. Now on this side I'm going to do greens. I'm going to take my green. Let's just take this. So basically half of this heart is going to be green. Again, just to pop that. I haven't got anything in the background at the moment, so I'm having a think about what I want to do with that. Let's just pick that up. Again, purples and greens. I really do like that colour combination. We are often drawn to certain colours, aren't we? I wonder if you have the same favourite colour that you had when you were about 8. I kind of went into purple probably when I was about 12. And then that stayed with me. And certainly when I was 15, I kind of went seriously into purple. And everything was purple. So my bedroom was purple, and I think for about a year, the only clothes I wore were purple, apart from my school uniform. I think it drove my parents crazy. But I had a very deep, dark purple wall in my bedroom. It was brilliant. There we go. Again, just sort of seeing what this looks like. Let's go over the top now with the turquoise. Like that. So do let me know in the comments, just write your favourite colour. Or the favourite colour you had when you were little, and your favourite colour now. Let's see who has the same. There we go. Just sort of bringing that. So think of these as two separate designs, although you know, it might be that I'm going to use all sorts of colours in the same design. But again, this is me trying out something. Right, I'm going to start to put something in the background. So I'm going to take this very dark green and I'm going to start working in the negative space. I've talked about negative space in the last tutorial. So if you haven't checked that one out, you might like to. Negative space is just everything that isn't the main thing. So in between this letter V and the hearts is the negative space, and I'm going to do that in this dark green, which is a beautiful colour actually, a really beautiful colour. Pressing quite hard to get that tone. I'll do a bit more on that and we'll come back to it. I've done a bit more on that, just put a bit more depth of colour. I'm just going to go over with a fine liner again, just to sort of define some of these outlines just a little bit. I am liking the design, the actual layout of the letters and the hearts. I think it works quite well. I'm just sort of putting a few other little bits in here. Yeah, I think that could work quite well. I'll do a little bit more on this while I'm waiting for other things to dry. And again, those of you who've watched my channel will know that I always do several things all at the same time, because time is precious, isn't it? And we can't just kind of sit around waiting for things to dry. Although sometimes we can just stop and have a nice cup of tea or something, can't we? There we go. So kind of like just outlining the basic shapes. It gives me an idea of what this could look like. And now I've got to decide whether I like the oranges and the purples or the greens, because I do actually like them both. And therein is the dilemma. So the fourth development of an idea is going to be from this page. I've got 4 strips of black paper, and then what I'm going to do is to make a little window, and then I can just sort of move it about and look at kind of interesting bits. I love doing this. It's so good. It's such good fun. See, I am quite liking this idea of the heart in the middle of kind of 4 squares. Thinking that works rather well. But I also really like this bit. So I'm going to do let's just move those out of the way. I'm going to do a bit of a combination of this design, but using that element, and maybe a little bit of this one as well. So let's see how we get on. Put my paper, and I do like these colours, so I'm actually going to stick to the same colours. So in this development, the colours are going to stay the same, but the patterns are going to be different. So I'm going to pop that here, and we're going to start by just drafting out this design. I'm going to go straight in with orange. You could use a pencil if you want to. But I liked this idea of the 4 squares and then the heart in the middle. Again, it could be lopsided, it could be however you want. Let's just turn it like this, just a little bit like that. And then I've got kind of stripes going on in this one. Like that. And then I've got various other kind of shapes coming in. And then this little bit that I really did like. Now I'm going to do it in a slightly different way. I'm just going to sort of play with the idea, but I liked the combination. So I'm going to put in, again, I'm doing this in orange so that you can see it a little bit more clearly. Again, if you didn't see this one originally, I will put the link below. And there's sort of various circles in there as well. I'm just going to put in a bit of block colour. I use a whole variety of different acrylic pens, and it just depends what you want, really. I do like this one because it's bright pink. You could also use paint for this, which is what I did in that original one. I did put some of the block colours using acrylic paint. playing with this design. I'm not copying it exactly. I'm just taking a few elements and popping them in. I'm just going to pop that there as well. Thinking about what I liked, what I thought worked well. This kind of line coming through here. And remember, even when you are developing an idea, you're going to go through the messy stage and things could just look like a complete disaster. But don't worry about that. We all have to go through that messy stage and then we come out the other end and it's terrific. It's going to get me with a bit of blue. Again, as I encourage everybody to do in all of my lessons, is to play with an idea. Don't worry about it, and certainly don't worry about things going wrong, because you can just put together some terrific ideas and it would just be really terrific, and other times it would just be like, hey, no, that didn't quite work out how I wanted it to. I've just got to put in a bit of blue there, but you're getting the idea. I seem to have mislaid my purple. Let me just, let's try this one. It's not quite the same colour, but I think it would do. It would be fine. Putting in there. You could also use felt tip pens, obviously. And you're just putting together some thoughts. So I will play around with this one a little bit more and kind of build up the whole design, and then we will go back to some of the earlier ones. So I've come back to this one. I've drawn out my letters again, just using a white acrylic pen. And what I'm going to do now is just a little bit of work on the letters, just sort of, again, seeing what this might look like. I really did like, a bit more paint on there, I think, the heart kind of overlapping. So what I'm going to do is just going to pop this letter in the darker, and then do another. Let's just move that out of the way. Again, I'm just using a very soft brush, bit of water on the paint just so it flows a little bit. Bring it in like that, keeping to these colours for the moment. I like the way the letters are together. I think that works well for me. I'm just going to leave that to dry just a little bit, like that. And I'm just going to perhaps make this one paler as we go into that blue. Again, just sort of try different things. Coming back to the reasons why. This is what happens in the real art world. Especially from a designer's point of view. You never kind of go with the first idea you have, and often when I'm working in collaboration, we will all come up with some ideas, and we will then work through them. But even when you're working on your own, so illustration or something like that, you're going to want to really refine what you do. So you start off with lots of ideas, you kind of brainstorm them all, and then you start to refine And it is a process of learning, and it does take a while to understand that you have to have lots and lots of ideas and then discard many of them. But remember that every time you put pen to paper, paint to canvas, you're learning, and you get better each time. It's not about talent. It's about practice and really developing those skills. You have to put in the effort. There's no way around that, I'm afraid. That was a bit too dark. I'm going to go over with the white. Again, this is going to go through a very messy stage before it kind of tidies up a bit. But it is giving me a sense of what I'm thinking I want for this book design, because that's what I'm working on at this bit. It's going to be the front of the book, and I'm not sure yet what that's going to look like, but over the next couple of weeks I will make a decision, and I'll do some more ideas and bring some more ideas together. I really hope that you're going to take part in this. Please don't be worried or scared. And this might be the first time you've ever entered anything. And all the details are in the description. It doesn't cost you anything at all. I would just like to have your image, a little bit about yourself or your process or your idea. That would just be lovely. And your first name and where you are. That would just be so lovely. There we go. And if you want to enter more than once, that's absolutely fine. And I will then just choose one of your pieces. So if you've created a few and you can't decide, then just send them all to me. And then I will make the tricky decision. There we go. So at the moment, we've got 400 people, 400 members in the Facebook group, which is just fantastic. It makes me very, very happy. And I am hoping that all 400 of you are going to join in with the project. And if you haven't joined the Facebook group and you think that you might like to do that, then you'll be very, very welcome. Please answer the questions. I have had to decline a few people. I have given the reasons why, so I hope if I have declined you, you've tried again. I need to make sure that you're a real person. And so I've asked some very silly questions like, what's your favourite biscuit? Things like that. And for you to agree to the group rules. Please do that. Otherwise I can't let you in. But I really would like to have lots of people joining in, because it's so supportive, so friendly. There's people who are absolute beginners and people who are quite experienced. It's lovely. Very, very friendly and supportive group. There we go. Again, I'm quite liking where this is going. I'm not sure of the colours. I think I am going to go back to my original colours, but I like this overall design. I do want to have another heart coming in, but I'm going to wait for that to dry. So I might come back to that later. So let's go back to the watercolour one. So these are dry. Remember, I'm going to be doing something similar to this one. Just pop that back over there. And slightly different colours, but similar sort of ideas. So I'm using acrylic marker pen. I'm, Bring these across like that. Might do some block colour, might just keep it a bit textured. Yeah, that's quite fun. I do like the sort of neon pink with orange and yellow. I think that works beautifully. Pop those in like that, leave that one. And on this one, I was thinking of doing something with a darker purple. That's a little bit more moody. That's, but again, a similar idea of just the 3 hearts. Oh, this one's running out. Right, that one. It's a little bit scribbly. And that one, like that. And then I'm going to take just a fine liner pen and just start putting in just some lines. See what that looks like. This is like little contour lines, similar to my original idea. And then going over this way, sort of meeting up like this, breaking up the space a little bit. Let's go around the edge. You could use a ballpoint pen or ink pen, or you could use different colours. And let's just do some more lines coming down like this, but with little dots. Again, you can add various patterns, perhaps patterns that you've used before that you really like. Let's put in just a few more of these vertical lines and then coming down. Like that. And then just some little circles. In that space, let's just take some of these lines that way. So looking at that one, let's go back to the original, which was this one here. And then you can see how I've kind of taken the idea and done something else with it. And I'm going to do a similar sort of thing with this one, but again, thinking about, I wonder what else I could do. I've just had another idea on this one. I liked the spiral. Let's just put a little spiral in that one. Okay, let's go on to this one. Let's pick up some blue. And I'm going to put some circles in like this, similar to the circles that I did before. I could do another spiral and some more dots. And then I'm going to pick up my white acrylic pen this time and do my lines in white. So still doing the same sort of pattern, same sort of design, but just in a slightly different way. I'm quite liking that as well. Again, it's not that one is better than the other, it's just what you feel like, really. Again, just play with that. Let's just add. And like I said before, it might be that you go back to your original design, but you would have thought about it. There would be a thought process. There we go. Oh, I'm quite liking those two as well. I will be popping those into my sketchbook. Right, let's move on to the next one. So I've come back to this one. I thought I put in the words there, which I do quite like. Let's just put in a bit of an idea. Just sort of, again, I'm still playing. I know that I'm trying out another idea, a development of an idea, but it's still playful. And there are things that are going to work, and there are things that aren't. But the design is coming along. And again, I say this all the time, enjoy the process, the making. And you could work on a very, very small scale. And I will quite often do that. If I want to try out just some thoughts, I will work very small. Let's just put in a few of these. I quite liked these ideas, these little flourishes are fun. I would just turn this round a bit. Pick up on this blue. Again, sort of repeating the idea of an element. Yeah, I might just sort of carry it on through there. Like that. Do you like stripes? I like stripes and dots. Stripes and dots make me happy. Let's put a bit more orange on this bit. You'll use the pens that you have and see what marks they make when you just kind of dab them. That's always fun. Let's put a few in there. Again, when you're doing this kind of experimentation, it's very easy to just sort of give up on something because it's just not going quite right. But sometimes when we work through it, it actually starts to come together. I'm just going to turn this completely upside down now because I want to work on this bit. And you think, oh yeah, actually, I really like that. I just needed to work a bit more on it. Add a bit more. Or it might be that you do too much and you think, oh no, yeah, went a little bit too far on that. And you think about the reasons why you're doing it. If you're, for this Heartscapes project, think about your community, your family, the things that you love, things that are important to you, and you might want to incorporate that idea into your own work. For me, this is more kind of like an abstract metaphor for the diversity in my community and in my family, and just sort of linking all sorts of different people together. And one of the things that I have absolutely loved in creating this YouTube channel is the different sorts of people who have joined in. And thank you so much for all your truly wonderful comments. I've said it so many times, I'm absolutely blown away by the community here. You're just such lovely, lovely people. Here we go. When I started the channel back in March 2024, so nearly a year, recording this in February 25, and when I first started it, my daughter, bless her, said to me, "Oh, you need to be really careful, Mum, online, because you might get some really nasty comments and trolls and unpleasant people," and which was very, very sweet of her. But of course, I was a school teacher for a very long time in inner city schools, so I'm quite used to unpleasantness. But I can honestly say that I haven't experienced that. Well, I think I've had 1 or 2 negative comments in nearly a year, which is quite extraordinary. Overwhelming amount of lovely, lovely people. Anyway, so I'm putting that together. Quite liking this. I'm going to add a little bit of black now. Again, picking up on the couple of the elements that I really liked from my initial idea, and just sort of seeing how they pan out. Again, I like circles and lines and dashes and things like that. So I hope you are getting lots of ideas. Let me know what your thoughts are, and if you've got any questions, just pop them in the comments. I do read every single comment, and I do try to reply to a lot of them. Let's pop those in there like that. These are looking a little bit like tadpoles. They weren't meant to be tadpoles, but there we go. I'm going to do a little bit more on that, and I'll show you at the end how I finished that one off. But I'm going to go back to the acrylic paint one. So I've come back to this one. I've added a bit more of the white. I'm using a Drawlish white acrylic pen. It is absolutely brilliant, and I have put a link below because I have been looking at lots of different types of acrylic pen, especially in white, and this is my favourite so far. Anyway, the link is there, and it's relatively cheap as well, which is great. Right, I am going to start to add a bit more to this one, but I'm going to be using colouring pencils. I'm also going to do something with this because I'm not quite sure about that. And again, it's about showing you that you can just correct something that you don't like, or if there's a mistake, you can just work around it. I like combining colouring pencils with paint. I think you can get some very good effects. I just wanted to kind of pick out, again, it's not quite the negative space because it is actually the heart, but I wanted to emphasise the letter. And I thought, yeah, I could do that with a pencil. Blend that out, so it added a little bit more subtle shading and tone. Just pick that up there. I'm liking that effect. This heart I think is too small. I like the overlapping bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this heart. Just going to put it and the heart's going to come out this way and over that way. So I've just gone over that. You see how good this pen is. Quite often when you use white acrylic pen, you have to go over and over and over until you get a really good colour, or good sort of pigmentation. But wow, it's good. I'm not being sponsored by this, actually. Just put that there. So just pop that heart there, and then looking at it, see where that letter comes. I'm just wondering if I could do a little bit around there as well, and make that bit a bit wider. Yeah, I like that. I like the colours, although I still am drawn to my original ones. What I don't like is this white bit here. So I'm going to go over with my pencil that. And just break that down a little bit. So I didn't like that. And then what I can do is take my paintbrush, pick up on that green, and then just go into the pencil. Like that. And then I can also use some of the darker blue, that Prussian blue that I used before. Oh, the brush is a bit wet. Just get a bit of rag. I didn't want it to be that wet. Bringing it down, blending it into that bit at the bottom. I'm going to use a tiny bit of white, which does, this sort of blending works much better when the brush is just damp, not too wet. So you can see those ideas are coming together. I'm not going to do any more on this one. I like the layout, I like the design, and when I make the decision of what I'm going to do, I will refer back to this one. I'll just do a little bit more on this one. I can emphasize the word, I think. Just using fine liner pen. This is another Drawlish one. But there's loads of really good black. And you could use an ink pen, like I said before. There we go. I think that's quite fun. Yeah, I'm sort of putting ideas together. I hope you're getting the idea of how you can develop your own art and why it's important to be able to do that sometimes. I'm going to take that one around like that. And I've seen some of your ideas already, and they're, well, just amazing. Absolutely amazing that people have posted to the Facebook group. Fantastic. And some of you have just put in your initial ideas and other people have commented on it, which is just terrific. Really, really good. There we go. Okay. I might do some more of that when I'm just playing. But let's have a look at what we've done in this session. I do like this one. I keep coming back to that one. Let's get my colouring pencil one as well. I might do a few more bits on this. And again, you can mix up your media. So I could use my acrylic pens on top of those as well. And then finally this one, which I do like. And I like how the word love is there, and that little white heart there, which is really quite sweet. So I'm going to pop all of these into my sketchbook. I might write a few little notes about them as well. Well, I do hope you enjoyed that tutorial and that your head is buzzing with ideas on how you can develop your own art. And I hope that you will join me next time. But if you want to see some more, you could look at this one and this one. See you next time. Bye bye.